A brief video here today on Sohrab's Shahid Salas's 1976 West German telefilm Time of Maturing. Don't take everything in this script too seriously, just warning in advance. Salas was born in Iran, trained at a film school in Vienna, began his career in Iran, spent much of it working within West Germany, and died in 1998, several years after that nation had been unified, having settled in the United States and not releasing any features since 1992. Salas's first two features were Iranian productions, although 1975's Far From Home was a co-production between West Germany and Iran, and followed Turkish expat workers operating within West Germany. 1976's Time of Maturing, aka Reifezeit, is a relatively simple film about a young German boy living with his mother, a sex worker, and his gradual to eventual outright realization of her profession. Its ending is one of the most heartbreaking I've seen in a long time, and the film in general is something of a predecessor to Salas's 1983 masterpiece Utopia, a picture about the commodification of sex work and how it, or certainly can, reduces individual human worth to that of a functional device. Told mostly via static shots, if not entirely actually, Time of Maturing is a window into this boy's perspective, and his mother's occasionally, depicting a world in which the average audience of the film might not be remotely privy to. According to a mini bio listed on his IMDb page submitted by Free Gardens Film, Salas saw the goal of cinema to be to make conscious of indignity and inhumanity of life. I think he has certainly tried to do so in the films I have seen from him. I think he certainly succeeds in Time of Maturing also, although I can imagine the film seeming a bit too flat or even just ordinary to certain viewers. I suspect that some viewers have a hostility to creative experimentation, anything that can be perceived as remotely pretentious, and so have a knee-jerk reaction against these sorts of films, potentially. Oh, I'd feel insecure about doing something so seemingly lofty, so no one ought to do so without being overly obvious and aggressively didactic and materialistically conservative. I think that if any film's premise was poised for this particular style, static shots, slice of life mundanity, black and white, minimalist dialogue, no overt A to B plot, although maybe kind of, and evidently appealing to known and recognized art house sensibilities, it is this one's. Some people believe that anything that can be criticized as pretentious ought to be of a passion. I really despise cynicism. It is a privilege of the developed world. You don't have time to be mocking and cynical in the third world. You hope for the best one can make of their situation. Otherwise, one might not survive in the first place. Anyway, I find the film to be very powerful, rather filmic, and emotionally potent. If someone does not care for this film, I would potentially understand why, certainly if one has seen a lot of films of this type and simply isn't impressed by it creatively. Okay. Although if you're going to go into this with the people who appreciate this think they're better than me, so fuck Sohrab Salas's attempts to create architecture out of moving photography, or anyone else's for that matter, I guess. Sincerely, their loss. I really disdain that culture, becoming more prominent by the day seemingly, inspired or escalated by a burgeoning and phenomenally uninformed conservatism amongst the young, people of my age. This culture of, everything is just emperor's new clothes and we tell it like it is, with lizard brain savagery and assuming that anything that we perceive as remotely culturally left-wing is bad or pretentious or out of touch or whatever the fuck. A lot of conservatives have been clamouring about there being one right way of doing things, in-group/out group, and that anyone who does not ought to be mocked, ridiculed and berated. They accuse the other side of doing this, and some do, although these people are just mentally unwell. They aren't bullies because they enjoy it. Yes, some certainly are. They are not well. The culturally conservative wing of society openly enjoys bullying people. They accuse the cultural left of covertly bullying without claiming to bully. This is true to some extent, but the right openly advocate for it, always have, and now more so than ever because some idiots on the cultural left took their gloves off and now the cultural right are more ruthless in their bullying and belittling of others than ever before. So these social parasites who weren't truly left-wing single-handedly sabotaged the left-wing movement internationally. It was probably some COINTELPRO operation now that I think about it. I'm mainly speaking of what things are like in Australia. I can't speak for anywhere else in the world, really. Anyway, Time of Maturing by Salas is a very strong film. I would recommend it. Not the happiest film ever made, although, I mean, life isn't the happiest experience of all time, is it? Depending on where you are in the world, it can be magnificent. I live a great life, objectively, although for many it is an experience of suffering in between sleep. To those of you, I wish I could wave a magic wand and make it better for you. In any case, have a great day, night, wherever you are, all of you. I hope all of your suffering shall be elevated, and don't let those bastard cynics bring you down. Those who get pleasure out of the misery of others. Those people. Anyway, have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are, however you are.